In this video, I'd like to teach you the concept of kitbashing and how you can use it. And real quick, guys, if you want to learn this awesome new program called plasticity, I've got a course for you in the description. It's the first link there. And it's got a lot of awesome content, guys. It's got over 42 hours of educational content. It's got a tree cutting mechs. It's got police robots, Omega, SMGs, cyborg ninjas, and much more. So be sure to check that out. So for this video, I'd like to focus on kitbashing different ornaments. So I've got 3 different ornamental details. They all come from different kits. You can think of these things as 3 different kits. This one right here is wood, and this one right here is stone or concrete, and this is yet another type of material. So they're 3 different kits, different designs. I mean, there are certain common elements between them. Like they all are inspired by flowers and different types of plants. You see that in lots of cultures. In order to create beautiful buildings and other pieces, they use a very heavy leaf motif. You can see, we definitely see a lot of leaves here, and even this one right here looks like petals on a flower. So, but these are 3 different kits. Let's go ahead and bash them together. So I may go ahead and speed through some of the modeling because I want to focus more on the concept of kitbashing, not necessarily the modeling. But if you would like to know how to model these, I will go ahead and spend some time as well. I think for the first detail, I'll go ahead and show you with no speed up, and then I'll go ahead and speed it up. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with what I think is the easiest one, this one right here. I'll just go ahead and isolate that. And I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of, first of all, I'll just go ahead and simplify it. I only want this piece in the center right now, so what I'll go ahead and do is just insert a few loops. Alright, and I'll just go ahead and select that, Control-I and delete. And I'll just go ahead and center the pivot. And move it to the center of my scene, 0, 0. Alright, adjust it a little bit more. I can go to the top viewport to be a little bit more accurate. Alright, about right there. Let's go ahead and begin with a cylinder. Let's try. So there are 6 objects going around here. So let's go ahead and just set our angle snap from 22.5, which is what I usually use, to, let's say, 30. All right. And I think it would be a good idea to make a cylinder that's divisible by 3. So I usually use 16 to 32, but let's go ahead and go with something like 24 or 48. Alright, if we want more detail, let's 24 or 48. Alright, I'll go ahead and give it a gray material and center the cylinder. Alright, let's go ahead and decrease the radius. Alright, now I will go and select the top here and delete it. And flip it, and just go ahead and just kind of inset right here. Alright, now I'll go and inset or scale the major areas. So I'll go ahead and scale up to here. So there we go. And now I can also go ahead and scale to the middle right here. And I'm using F2, which will take your polygon selection and actually make the red go away, so you can still work easily with transparency. Alright, so I will begin. I will go ahead and select this and just detach it as a clone, or not as a clone. Alright, I'll go ahead and add a shell modifier. Shell it a little bit, let's go with 2 centimeters. Alright, and now I will go ahead and begin. Also go ahead and detach this as well as a clone, and I'll go ahead and shell this as well. Alright, now since I created a cylinder that was 48 sides, it means that I need to go ahead and divide 48 by 6, which will give me 8. So to make one of these leaves here, I'll go ahead and just select 8 of these polygons. So Make sure you don't have anything selected on the bottom. Actually, that's not 8. I need one more. I need one more right here. Alright, now it's 8. Of course, remember that it's a good idea to model in the center. That way you have a much easier time with symmetry as opposed to at an angle like this. So what I can do actually is go ahead and attach that as a clone. What I can do here, for now I'm going to go ahead and isolate these. So what I can do is I can rotate it over here, for example, as an instance. Alright, and then I can go ahead and begin modeling. I'll just go ahead and establish symmetry. Alright, so this is what we basically need to do here is just go ahead and activate edge constraints and just kind of move it down to kind of match the general shape of the leaf. Alright, something like that. And I'll also go ahead and need to reroute the topology, because if we go ahead and turbo smooth this, you can see that we get a solid, a sharp edge here. So to reroute our topology, what I can simply do is insert a loop through here, and then insert a loop through here, and there we go. Topology has been rerouted, and we now get a round shape. If you want it to be a little bit sharper in the center, what you can simply do is select this and move it closer to the center like that, and as you can see, it becomes sharper. So just some basic topology tricks. You want to be as simple as possible with this, because it will really make things a lot simpler to model. Only get more complex when the details require it. If you want to add like some details here, you know, 2 polygons may not support that, so you want to go ahead and, you know, add more detail. But for now, let's just keep things as simple as possible. All right, so we've also got a kind of a cut here in the middle. So let's go ahead and apply a shell modifier. Okay, and that may be a little bit too thick. Let's try 0.75, and then I'll go ahead and delete the center, because that's not necessary. Alright. Remember, I'm using a lot of edit polys here, so that if I do something wrong that I don't like, I have an easy time of undoing that. And then maybe insert a loop through here. Alright, and judging by the shading, it looks like the outer part here is a little bit raised. So to raise it up here, let me go ahead and remove this loop for now. I can go ahead and bring it back later. I can just go ahead and kind of raise that up a little bit. Maybe raise the tip here. Alright, now I need to go ahead and create this little slit here in the middle. So I'm just trying to think of the best way to do that. Let's try selecting these edges and then using extrude. Alright, something like that. Might have to fix a little bit of the topology here. It's a good idea to have quads, but it's not really quite necessary on this, because once you apply turbo smooth, it will turn all of your triangles into quads. So right here, for example, we have an n-gon and a triangle, but as soon as you symmetrify and turbo smooth, you can see we have all quads. So, you know, it's up to you about how much time you'd like to spend with this. If you really want to speed up this process, don't worry about the triangles and n-gons, because turbo smooth will fix that for you. So there you go. But if you wanted to, I guess you could spend a little bit extra time here. You just have to, for example, maybe connect this right there. Connect this right here, remove this. And one thing that you can do is to see what the effects of your changes are just by turning the edit poly modifier on and off. So you can see exactly how your changes in topology impacted the result. And also keep in mind that usually when I'm working, I use a turbo smooth iteration of 2. If you use more, it will make your geometry look smoother. So just keep that in mind. If it looks bad at 1 or 2, it will probably look better at 3 or 4. So as you can see, it looks pretty nice. I mean, it does kind of match the detail. I am getting the effect that I would like here. One more easy way, so I can just kind of move this a little bit here. And one more way is, of course, using FFD. It is a great modifier for quickly adding some nice variety to your geometry. A quick way of getting some nice variation. Let me also go ahead and select this right here, so I can go ahead and just make the tip a little bit more interesting. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I can then go ahead and delete this. Alright, so I can then go ahead and kind of rotate it back into position and make some clones. Let me go ahead and try making 5. Alright, so there we are. And remember that you can go ahead and create some variety. For example, you can go ahead and kind of clone these, and for this you can do something different. So for this one you can go ahead and use FFD. You can go ahead and use FFD. Maybe move it out a little bit more. Maybe scale it out a little bit. So you can see how just with a simple use of FFD, I can take the work I've already done and turn it into something different. Without spending that much time modeling that in. So FFD is a very powerful tool, and I recommend that you use it, and you can get some really cool results with it. You can also use tools like bend. Let me go ahead and set the appropriate bend axis. And of course, bend works better if you use it on top of turbo smooth. That way, the thing is that if you try to bend like this, you only have this geometry to work with. But if you apply a turbo smooth first, the bend modifier will have a lot more geometry to work with. As you can see here, we're getting kind of a nice curve here. It is kind of clipping through. We can fix that with FFD. So if I want to prevent the clipping, I'll just go ahead and kind of maybe scale this in a little bit. There we go. There we are. So as you can see, we can get a huge variety of different details just with a few simple moving around and rotation operations. So you can see that this is a variation of this, and we can go ahead and just kind of keep experimenting. With this, for example, I can go ahead and take the bend modifier and change it like this, and now I have this detail. So you can see how you can have a lot of fun, and you have a very efficient and effective way of creating a nice variety of details. So we have this. Let's see what else we can create. And for this one, I'll go ahead and let's see. And you can see how we can even get some pretty cool animations using bend, like the effect kind of a flower growing. Just by changing the direction around, we can go ahead and kind of have the flower kind of open up and rotate like this. So you can see how just using a simple modifier can open up a lot of options in 3ds Max and help you create some pretty cool effects, both for for high quality film and also for video games as well. So you can see here, it's the effect of kind of a flower opening and closing. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit distracted. This is just kind of a way that I'm teaching you to create a lot of variation, kind of reuse the work that you've done and get some nice variation with it. And what I can do, for example, is if I like this, I can go ahead and create a new layer. And I can call this, for example, extra designs or unused designs, and I can go ahead and just kind of pop them in there and hide the layer, and I can always go back and reuse that and get some nice variety and variation in my designs. Let's go ahead and move this back. So even though the ornaments that we're creating may be complex, they're actually quite easy to create, and you can get some nice variety with them. The complexity comes when you start adding a bunch of different designs together. Remember, the complexity is a lot of simple things kind of stacked up and layered on each other.